Hey everyone, it's Gabriel from St. Cloud Nursery, and I am about to open up a special box. Now, I am doing this box opening knowing that I'm not going to be able to show this to you guys for quite some time. This is a project. Here, let me get this invoice out. This is a kind of a little secret project I'm doing. I am painting a prototype baby, and my baby just got here from Germany. And I wanted to show you what it looks like when your prototype baby arrives. I am not the sculptor of this baby. Let's open that up. Wow, no fluff, no frills. Ooh, very soft. Very soft vinyl, very squishy. Ooh, this is one of those great German bodies. Look at this. It's got all this crazy hardware in it. Wow, that is wild. I will replace those strings with cables, but this body has weight to it. It's lovely. It's really well made. And the color of this vinyl is really nice. I like working with this vinyl. The feet have a lot of detail. Lots of wrinkles. They're very tiny. I would say this is probably a 17-inch baby. I'm not sure. I don't have a lot of information about this baby. This is the first time I'm seeing it. I was asked to do this. This is for a new artist. This is her first sculpt that has ever been turned into vinyl. Here's the other foot. Look at those little feet. They're so tiny. She definitely has her own style. And the last little arm. So what is going to happen next is I'm going to give this baby a good bath, because I can see that it still has some of the oils on it from the factory, because they grease up those molds so they can get these out, and you can see there's lots of shiny bits here. And so I need to kind of give this baby a good long hot soapy bath. I'll show you that face one more time. A nice hot soapy bath, and then I will prime this baby. Not too much, because I kind of like this color. This is just wild. Let's see if there's anything on the back. Oh, her name is Leah. Yay, that's a pretty name. I like that. I'm so excited to get started. She's super tiny. Woo-hoo. I'll be back once I get this baby all washed and getting ready to prime. We'll talk a little bit more about this baby. I'm going to reveal little bits as I go along. This is so exciting. Good morning. This is Gabriel from St. Cloud Nursery. I got up early this morning to do some painting. How are you, everyone? Well, whoever's tuning in, how are you? I hope you're enjoying your weekend. It's Sunday when I'm filming this. I am starting my prototype baby today. I'm so excited. But I decided that I would do 3 babies, and that turned into 4. I didn't want to do a lot of babies, because I want to give a lot of my attention to the prototype and not feel, rushed or pressured. And I'll show you that sculpt in a minute. I am also working on Gia and, I think it's Gia and Jerome. They are 2 babies out of a triplet set. And I bought these from an artist. She happened to have these 2, and I really liked the size of them, and I liked their little faces. These will probably be fantasy babies, so I'm going a little heavy on some shading. This is not the way I would normally shade a preemie baby. And I was a little worried that maybe these were counterfeits for a hot minute, because all it had was a number on it. But I did a little digging, and it turns out these are poured in Germany, and they put a little number here And it matches all the babies, and the artist's signature is here on their head. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, it's this lovely orangey German vinyl, and I know not everybody appreciates it, but I happen to prefer it. I really like painting on it. And I don't neutralize it down to white. It just depends really on the baby, but I don't feel like I have to. I don't mind working with it. I think Mick is poured in the same vinyl, and I love the way that baby turns out every single time. And some babies that don't have a lot of the creases and the wrinkles and stuff, you know, some babies have tons and it drives you crazy, and some babies have just some, the right amount, but they're super deep, and then some babies don't. And that doesn't make one baby better than the other. It's just a different style for different artists. But with this baby, it doesn't have a lot of creases and a lot of those wrinkly bits. So I get to create that if you want. You know, you don't have to. But for me, I'm creating some of that depth with some shading. It doesn't matter how many babies I say I'm going to work on, one always gets slipped in there. I'm also doing Marnie from Bountiful Baby. The reason why I'm doing this baby is because when I was pulling out a couple babies to paint, I noticed I had 4 of these. And so I thought, I better paint one of these. I've got a lot of these. And she was like looking out through the little plastic, and she was breaking my heart. She was like, paint me, paint me, paint me. So I said, all right, but nobody else is jumping in this basket today. I gotta manage my time wisely. So here are her limbs. Very pale vinyl. This is the difference between the German vinyl and the new Bountiful Baby vinyl. This is awesome to paint because this is a super great canvas. When it's pale like this, I mean, the possibilities are endless, and there's no color correcting for me. I just like this, and the color will build, and it'll get, you know, more yummy and warm as you go. Different. So here is the prototype. Look at these little tiny feet. I think I showed them to you before. I'm gonna go ahead and do a tiny, tiny bit of shading. I will not be using this blue, and I don't have any of the blue that I want, so I'm gonna have to make it. And it'll be vein blue, phthalo blue, a little bit of purple, a little bit of red. And I can't really give you a recipe because I just mix it, and when it looks kind of where it seems yummy to my eyes, that's where I stop. And then I'll make a container about this big, and I'll have it until it runs out, and then I'll make something different on a different day, and it won't be exactly the same. So when you're mixing paint, don't mix gigantic vats of it. Now, when I mix my washes, I do a big container like this because you don't apply this the same way, and this will last me a really, really, really long time. I just, I'm lazy, and I don't want to mix paint every single time I make a baby. And I do mix some paints because sometimes I'm making a baby and I don't have the exact color that I want, or I'm color correcting and I don't have the color that I want. But for the most part, when I mix my washes, I mix them in a big batch because I know I've got a feel for what I like and what my personal palette is. So I'll mix a big batch, and then the next time I mix it, it might be a little bit different. But I think on my workbench, I have a sap green. I have I would call like a vintage rose. I have a grapey color. I have a kind of a vein blue wash, and that's just for modeling. I have a pink model. I have a red model. I have a salmon wash. I have a marigold color, and I have like a lilac color. Oh, and I have like a lemony yellow. And again, those colors vary. It just depends. Sometimes in the winter, I'll feel a little different than I do in the summer. My colors might change depending on the weather and the color that's coming through my window. And I don't use those colors on every baby. Some babies might get 3 of those colors. Some babies might get all of those colors. It depends if I have to color correct, how deep I want to go, if I'm doing a fantasy baby, if I'm doing like a Nordic pale fair baby, or if I'm doing a baby with really like nut brown skin. Good morning, everyone. I'm up early painting. I'm not going to have much time before my little guy wakes up, so I'm going to do as much as I can with that time. I have my prototype that I'm working on. I'll show her to you real quick. This is Leah. And she just got some red, some pink, and some lavender layers. And I did a little more modeling just because this vinyl is really sucking up that red. And the first 2 modeling layers I did just kind of disappeared. So I'm giving that one more. And I do want this baby to be modeled because she's so tiny. And I want her to look kind of newborny. She has a very pretty face. To me, she has a very dolly face. Very, very lovely. Kind of like Priscilla, that very pretty, pretty baby. And I'm working on Miss Marnie here. She's ghosty. I'm just giving her a little bit of a pink layer right now. It's a little more red than pink. This won't be my final blushing. This is just kind of my base blushing. It helps me figure out where I'm going to go next. And a lot of this blushing will fade out when I bake the baby. And this baby has had all the veining done. And I'm going to go do a little, this modeling will just be my first pass at kind of the reds, the modeling reds. And when I first started, I didn't go this dark in the beginning because I didn't really, I couldn't gauge, you know, how that was going to work. And I've been doing it a long time, so I kind of have a feel for what is enough or what is too much. But, you know, I had to learn and make a lot of mistakes before I got to this. And again, this might even be for someone who does a lot of babies. They might think this is kind of a weird way to go about it. Everybody develops their own style and their own method. There she is. They're kind of in their zombie stage. Again, I shaded them deeply. I did blue, and then I did a more purpley color. The purple kind of faded out, so I'm probably going to do another purple shading layer on these babies in a few minutes, if I have the time. But let me go grab Leah, pop her in the oven, and try to finish up Marnie. I'll be back in a little bit. Good morning, everyone. I am putting a little wash on some of the little tiny babies. I just got all of their pinks and their lavenders and some blues on them. And when I make a fantasy baby, I don't just, you know, skip over the reborn part. I do full reborn, but then I just add all the other parts. So I think some people question why fantasy babies cost the same or sometimes cost more than a reborn doll. And it's because we're doing all the same exact, well, at least I am. I'm doing all the same exact stuff I would normally do, but I'm just giving myself actually more work. And I don't mind, it's a lot of fun. I have Leah in the oven. The person who made her, sculpted her, is also doing a prototype, and she sent me over a picture. And it's pretty cute. She did like dark hair, straight. She rooted the whole baby. And she's very, very pretty. She made a very pretty baby. I used a lot of really bold, dark colors on this baby's skin. And I want to see it under the skin. So I'm just giving it a little wash. This baby is chalky right now because it's not baked yet. So what happens is the thinners kind of evaporate and it leaves this paint on here, and then the heat will cook that paint into the vinyl. So it looks a bit chalky, but when I pull it out, I promise you it won't look like this. And then after these guys are done baking, I think I'll probably I'll do some more detail work around the toes, eyes, lips, nostrils, fingernails, all that kind of stuff. They're awfully pinky purpley, but I just have this feeling to do like a very pastel-y, grapey kind of model, very light. And then I'll do little details, lips, nostrils, ears. Miss Marnie is coming along. She's at her super pale stage right now. You can see she's got a lot of deep shading, and you can see the capillaries on her eyes, and her modeling is really strong. She's behind the other babies, so she probably has about 11 more layers to go, I'm guessing. Not more than that. I think she probably needs another blue, or maybe I'll do like a teal model. Then she'll be ready to start some detail work. But so far she's coming along okay. It's kind of weird to look at her right now, but when you've made babies a lot, you know where you're at in the process, and in your mind you can see where you're going and how it's going to turn out. It never turns out exactly like you imagine it will, but for me, it's always cool no matter what. I mean, even if it's a little bit disappointing, I'm still kind of happy, because it's not disappointing in a way that, oh no, I ruined it. It's disappointing in the way, I kind of have to grieve the baby that was in my head and kind of embrace the baby that showed up. And I believe that in art, what shows up is what was meant to show up, and you just kind of helped reveal it, you know? Isn't that what Michelangelo said? I'm not trying to like pretend I'm Michelangelo. I am not in any way painting babies of Michelangelo. But it's a kind of a great idea to keep in your head with art. It's a process that you're participating in. It's not all you, you know? It's a culmination of a lot of things, like what you had for breakfast and what the artist was thinking when they sculpted this, and how the paint all comes together, how much time you spent, how you were feeling about that baby. You know, some of these babies, when you're painting them, they elicit an emotional response. I know that sounds airy-fairy and kind of weird, but they do. Like when I was painting Leilani yawning, I just kind of had this super happy vibe. I mean, I just kind of loved that sculpt. And I had a lot of fun, and she turned out, to me, even though she looks like she's just kind of a sleeping, yawning baby, to me she's kind of a happy, she had a happy vibe. And this baby's just pretty tranquil. I have Miss Leah out of the oven. She's still warm. And I'm trying to make a decision. I think I'm gonna go with a little bit of an amber wash. I never know how things are going to go till I get there. But if you're playing with, you know, brown washes, best thing is just to go super slow. I mean, I've heard so many times, I don't understand why you just don't pick a color you like, mix it up, and pop it on that baby. Why you gotta do it like this? It seems like such a long road to get to the same place. Because if you want depth, you have to build. And when you build in layers and build up color, the cool thing is that if you don't like the way it's looking, you can always delete that layer. You can just wipe it off and say that's not going to work. So let's show you the before and after arm. It's darker, and here's my skin, so it's still lighter than me. But I think that's going to be great. I am getting ready to go on a trip. I'm going to Tennessee. I have never been there before. I'm vaccinated. My son and I are going on an adventure. I have a friend who just moved there and is setting up her new house. And I'm going to see her house and see her. And we're just going to play and do some hiking, go to a couple parks. The flight was cheap. I had some credits that I had to use. I'm gonna go explore and check it out. A couple of my friends have made their moves from California to the south, and they absolutely love it. Those friends of mine happen to be a little bit more conservative. Everybody's different. But we'll see. I'm just gonna go check it out. And then after that, I'm probably going to go to Connecticut for a week or two with my son. Well, actually, since my sponge is a little damp, I'll do the face. Usually I start back here in case I make a mistake, but we're at the end of the sponge, so, and I don't want to do the face too dark. That's going to be my lightest area there. So I'm just patting around. I think that looks good. I don't know if I'm totally in shot. I can't tell. And I apologize when I do this. I really just need to get a different tripod. I'm pinking up. She has a tiny dimple I didn't even notice. Look at that. That's so cute. I like the way her lips are turning out. And she has very purpley eyelids. I like that. Well, there she is. She just has to flash and I'll bake her again. Look at this elongated head. Oh my gosh, I wish everybody did that. I love that birth canal head. It makes me happy. Oops, she got a little something on her lips. Well, like they say on the Great British Baking Show, bake,